I'd like to take a moment to show you an example of how to complete the lesson plan analyses. So you will not have to submit this one. This is just for me to show you how it's going to work, and then you'll start completing your own lesson plan analyses in Lesson 4. So what I have here on the screen is a lesson plan that I found through the UEN Lesson Plan Library. You can find your lesson plans online, or you can use lesson plans that you're creating in a methods class or in your EDSC 4550 class. So this lesson is all about kind of cartography, map making, and how it works to make maps and globes and things like that, which can be a pretty darn boring lesson. Now, in Lesson 3, we've been learning about theories of intelligence and theories of motivation. So what I'm going to do is take this lesson plan and analyze it using those theories of intelligence and theories of motivation we've been talking about in this lesson. So as I go through and read this, and I hope you've downloaded this lesson plan and are ready to follow along a bit with me, we'll see that there are some enduring understandings and essential questions that help us know kind of where we're going with this. I would assume that the teacher would actually put at least some of these on the board. And then he's got some different ties into the curriculum, of course, to make sure we've got alignment, as well as career connections. List of materials that'll be needed, prior knowledge, and then here are our intended learning outcomes or daily objectives. All right, now coming down into the actual instructional procedures, I'm going to skip over the vocabulary words because I'm sorry, geography people, I don't care. All right, we're going to come down to where he actually starts talking about how instruction works, and now you'll see that I've got all these comments out to the side. So to me, this is the easiest way to complete this assignment. If you would rather do this on paper, you are welcome to do so, and you can just highlight and then annotate out to the side with some comments on your own. So you can either use the commenting tools in your word processing program, or you can print your lesson plan out and then use a highlighter and write in your comments. I will take your submissions either way, digitally or on paper. All right, so as I'm reading through, basically this teacher passes out oranges to each of the groups and then has them figure out how they can put graph paper over this orange and make it all neat and tidy, right? Because that's basically what we do. We have a map, but a flat map, is a representation of a 3D object, a spherical object. So he's trying to explain to the students how this works. So rather than just explain it, he has them work it out together. So I see some different things going on in here. First of all, they're working in small groups. So I've commented out to the side here, and just so you know, in order to do this, you highlight what you're going to comment on, you go up to Insert, and then choose New Comment, okay? It may be different depending on the version that you have of your word processing software, but you know, it's generally the same process. We're inserting a comment. You can also find it under the Review menu, and then we've got the comments section over here, and you can do New. All right, so I noticed that he's having them work in small groups. So I put out to the side as my comment, this represents the need for relatedness from self-determination theory for motivation. So in this case, the students are working in small groups, which will help them meet people and develop interpersonal skills. So what I want you to notice is I've highlighted the section of the lesson plan I'm talking about. I've used vocabulary, and then I've explained how the lesson plan is demonstrating that concept, that piece of vocabulary. So that's what I'm going to want you to do with your lesson plans as well as we start moving forward into the other theories that we learn about pretty much every week. We're going to do one of these lesson plans, and it'll help you to take these kind of abstract concepts like self-determination theory and figure out how to actually implement them in lesson plans. Okay? If you notice that you're not really using some of these in your lesson plans, then that would be a good time to revise lesson plans to include them, because our lesson plans need to incorporate the things we're learning about in this class. We need to motivate our students. We need to consider different theories of intelligence. As we get into you actually doing this assignment for yourselves, you're going to be looking at cognitive development. How have you incorporated correct cognitive developmental levels and supports into your lesson plans. And if you can't find them in your lesson plans, then your lesson plans need to be revised, okay? So that's kind of what we're doing, and it's going to help you not only improve your lesson plans, but also get you ready for your field work and doing those theory into practice responses, as well as your Tipper Part 2, where you have to teach your lesson using a theory. Okay, so I'll just go through a few of these. I'm going to provide both of these documents, the blank lesson plan, as well as this one that I've provided for you with the comments, so you can see what I've done. So I've got the need for relatedness here. That's coming from self-determination theory in our motivation section. But then I also noted, see, they're experimenting to cover the orange with a piece of paper. That's using kinesthetic intelligence. The students are working with materials hands-on to understand the concepts. They also are going to have to work to come up with a solution to this problem. And as I started thinking about that, I thought, wow, that's a good example of Spearman's triarchic theory of successful intelligence, because the groups are going to have to use the analytical, where they kind of tear the problem apart, what's going to have to happen, the creative, how could we make this work, and the practical intelligence, all right, let's pick one and actually make it happen in order to solve that problem. So there's really a lot going on in that very simple activity. They're also going to use some logical intelligence from multiple intelligences theory as they try to figure out which of the solutions from all of these that he's presenting in his lesson are going to be the best. He's also making use of visual spatial intelligence from multiple intelligences by displaying these map projections on the board for everybody to see, rather than just talking about them in the abstract. As we keep coming down here, the students get to choose from a couple of careers that they're interested in. So I felt that that was a good example of the need for autonomy, that students have some choice and some power within the classroom. So you can see I've gone through the lesson and just torn it apart this way. Here we've got an example of extrinsic motivation. They get to actually eat their orange at the end. More logical intelligences as they're doing a yes or no questions game. That's one of the models of instruction. You're going to be learning about that later in the semester in your curriculum class. We've got some more examples of the need for autonomy and some intrinsic motivation. And then I felt as I read through this entire lesson plan, wow, this teacher is doing a great job of developing students' competence. Their need for competence is being fulfilled. Because what he's done is really scaffolded this activity, taken students through it step by step to help them develop competence or proficiency in their kind of map reading or analytical skills with regard to maps and longitude and latitude and all of this good stuff. So I feel pretty strongly that by the end of this activity, students would understand the concepts well, be able to use them pretty decently, really have a sense of competence, like this is something they could do. Okay, so that's it. It's not a really complex assignment, but it will take that extra step within your brain to move from vocabulary on a study guide or in your notes to how we can actually use the vocabulary or the concepts within your lessons. And that's the whole point. So I wish you luck on this. This one, again, is just our example for you to see. Download them, use them all you want. For lesson 4 and forward, as we complete these, you can either do it as I've done it here by using the comments tool in your word processor, or you can print your lesson plan out, use a highlighter, and comment in handwriting out to the side. All right, that is how we complete the lesson plan analyses. I encourage you to take a few more minutes to really go through and see how I've done this for yourself. And I really hope you enjoy this opportunity to do these assignments.